Well, an expert in cybercrime has described today's massive cyber attack as embarrassing, saying it's basic stuff and we should have got it right to prevent the hack. Joining me now, Professor Richard Buckland, cybercrime expert at the University of New South Wales. Well, Richard, the Chinese are coming out and saying that these claims are baseless, but I wish I knew as good a thing tomorrow at Rose Hill as the likelihood that China was behind these particular attacks.
Yeah, we don't know from what's been released, but I think it's very important that we find out.
So how do we find out?
It's interesting. The strategies they've been using are lo-fi strategies. They've been using things that are in the public domain, so they're not using any of their own stuff, whoever it is. They've been mounting, sort of launching sites inside Australia, so we're not getting the bad traffic coming from overseas. It's actually quite clever how they've done it in a way that's leaving very few fingerprints. So I think the way to find it probably would be through traditional intelligence sources rather than through them leaving cyber clues. So we really need to hope we've got a holistic intelligence operation.
Sure. You're saying this is embarrassing for Australia. Why is it embarrassing?
I think because attacks are not very sophisticated and they're the sort of attacks we've known for a long time, that we've been caught out so badly speaks to a widespread underinvestment in cybersecurity. I think we just haven't, we've taken our eyes off the ball a bit. The government's actually been quite good. They've been pushing it, but it's down to each individual business and down to individual users to learn more about cybersecurity and devote resources and time to it. And I guess, you know, we've got limited time and resources. We just haven't seen it as a big threat. And this is now hopefully starting to make us realise, actually, this is quite serious.
What are the dangers for Australia if you do have a foreign actor? And let's assume that it's China. We should never assume anything, but it seems as though the finger is well and truly being pointed at China. What are the dangers for us as a nation when this sort of thing happens?
That's a really good question. I think there's two. One is the actual danger posed by the things that the people can do. So whoever the attacker is, like if we look at how, for example, Russia did a similar to this to the Ukraine, they attacked power stations, they caused blackouts, and in a really cold country which relies on energy and electricity to get around and survive, actually that was actually quite crippling. So damaging our systems, that is a serious problem. But I think probably the even bigger problem is, and I imagine this is possibly what people are wondering is behind the attack, is the attack on our self-esteem, our morale, just feeling under attack, feeling pressured, feeling we can't trust things. It's almost like a bullying strategy, as though someone wants to bully us into doing something and they're saying, we can make you very uncomfortable if you don't. And I think the second thing is more concerning. For example, it could involve attacks on elections. It could involve attacks on decision-making processes. It could, and we've seen the same thing happening in other countries. So this sort of intelligence-based attack, information attacking, rumour, this is insidious and hard to quantify and hard to fix. So I really do think this is a wake-up call to us all that we need to focus on our cyber security and safety as much as we do on our physical military security and our actual safety at home and safety in the car with seatbelts and so on. It just should be part of life now.
Richard, the Prime Minister is talking about safeguarding and preparing our IT systems, and he's also saying that we can expect more of this in coming weeks and months. Yeah. So obviously the onus now is on Australians, whether it's businesses or people watching this show tonight, to be incredibly careful when it comes to this type of behaviour. Yeah,
look, I think it's like COVID in lots of ways. We shouldn't be panic and lose our essence of who we are, but we should think about it carefully. And we responded really well to COVID, so hopefully we'll respond to this. I think individuals should learn a bit more about cybersecurity and be very wary about emails and being tricked. So,
statement.
Oh, sorry.
Protecting Australia's economy. This activity
Go ahead.
Is not.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
ahead,
so individuals should improve their own security and awareness, a bit of education. Organisations should focus more money on it. Many organisations have good people, but not a lot of resources. And even government departments we're seeing, in fact, whole government organisations are being shown up as not having sufficient defences, staff and logging ability so they can work out later on what happened. So I think this is really a wake-up call at all levels of society that this is quite serious and we should think about it carefully.
Well, Richard Buckland, thank you very much for joining us tonight on Sky News Across
It's a pleasure.
There's the latest advice. Just, this is a wake-up call. We need to be very, very careful and obviously keep an eye on this as we go forward. Thank you, Richard.